So in this video, I'm going to see if there really is much difference between the different cameras. And that in itself was a huge mistake. Hello and welcome to Media Academy Online. I've been using the iPhone 12 Pro for about a month or so now, and every time I speak to someone about it, I get the same question. Is it really that much better than the iPhone 11? So in this video, I'm going to put that to the test and see if there really is much difference between the different cameras. And I'll also use my iPhone 10 to see what sort of jump there might have been from the 10 to 11 and the 12. And we'll compare the image and see if there is a big difference between the image at all, or if it's all just a heap of marketing. So with that said, let's begin with this video. So I got some mail that just came in. Let's film it on the ultra wide shot. Oh, look at that. That's one thing that I'm really enjoying about this new camera is that ultra wide lens. It just makes things look so cool. Since I've had this for about a month now, I've been able to really play with it, and really I've found one of the most useful lenses is that wide angle lens. There's also the zoom lens I use sometimes, probably not as much as I thought I would, but it's still handy to have. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I got this over the normal iPhone 12 is that I wanted that extra zoom lens, since they all have this wide angle lens. And I think it's probably the right call to make. A lot of people will find a lot more use with this wide angle lens, being able to fit in family members and things like that when they're filming. So if you remember a little while ago, I did a review on the Blackhawk electric skateboard. I've actually gone ahead and bought myself one. So let's start off with the big guy here. So I'm going to be able to use this for all sorts of things, and it's going to be very, very fun to use. And here we are, we have all the paperwork, safety notice, very good, very good. And that's very cool too, it's got a quality checklist. So, and some stickers. I'm going to use these. So, just a small plug for you again there, guys. Okay, and there we are, we got a Blackhawk electric helmet. Look at that. There we go. By the way, I'm using the audio straight out of this guy, so I always have a habit of not really testing out the audio and always focusing on the visuals. So here is the audio. I hope it sounds pretty good. We'll see. Either way, you'll be able to tell me because you would have heard this. I'm not hearing this. You'll hear this. So you let me know what you think of the audio. So if you haven't seen my video on the Blackhawk electric skateboard, go and watch it here because it's a very handy tool to have when you're filmmaking. So if you want to know all about that, watch this video. Now before we continue, let's just take a second. Let's just take 1 second. And right now we're going to do this together. Ready? We're going to smash the like button. Let's go. And right, now that's done, let's continue. So for this video, my plan was to film all of the different shots using only the default camera app in each of these phones. And that in itself was a huge mistake. You see, this new iPhone 12 Pro has HDR functionality built into it, but this causes some issues when I'll go and put it into Premiere. The colors are quite contrasty and a little bit overlit, and it really caused some problems. It's really hard to explain, but you can see with this shot how things just look a little bit off, and I actually had to do some color grading to sort of bring it back down to normal. So this test itself was a bit of a fail. However, with that said, let's go ahead and compare the differences anyway. Just be aware that this might not be a fair comparison because the 11 Pro and the 10 haven't been color graded. So just keep that in mind moving forward within this video. Now the first thing I want to state is how incredible cameras are these days, especially having it built into a phone. Images like this wouldn't have been possible 10 years ago, and we all now have it available to us in our pockets. Now let's look at these images. Can you tell which was filmed on each phone? So the first shot was the iPhone 11 Pro. The second shot was the iPhone 10. And the third shot was the iPhone 12 Pro. Again, as I mentioned, I've had to do some color grading on the iPhone 12 images. However, the iPhone 11 and 10 is what's straight out of the camera. Now let's look at these macro shots. We can see the iPhone 12 Pro and also 11 Pro create an amazing macro image, and there's some beautiful depth of field showing here. However, when we go to the iPhone 10, we can see some of the differences showing. This phone couldn't quite focus on the flowers in the foreground, instead was focusing on flowers a little bit further back. Here is a comparison between the 11 and 12 Pros. And then here's a comparison with each of those different shots. Now looking at these balls, we have the iPhone 10, the 11 Pro, and 12, which all come up really nice and the colours are clear and easy to understand. We can see the iPhone 10 probably isn't as crisp, there's a little bit more noise on the 10. However, the 11 Pro and 12 Pro are probably closer to each other than you'd expect. The next test was a depth of field test. Looking at these, we can see the iPhone 10 doesn't have quite the same shallow depth of field as the 11 Pro or 12 Pro does. And I personally liked the 12 Pro's depth of field the most. And personally I think it creates the most appealing bokeh out of all of them. Now let's test the different lenses. The iPhone 10 only has the wide angle and a zoom lens. However, both the 11 Pro and 12 Pro all have 3 different lenses which can go from ultra wide angle, and also zoom. Now I was testing some skin tones. The 11 Pro handled it quite well. The iPhone 10 came out a little bit more contrasty. However, looking at this iPhone 12 Pro, because I had HDR on, really I can't really test the skin tones with this image. So let's replace it with this other image which was filmed after the fact to compare the skin tones. Because this shot was filmed with Filmic Pro, I didn't have that HDR setting on and the colours came out a lot better. So keep this in mind, if you are going to edit straight onto the computer, that HDR will become a problem. So always turn it off if you can. So that was a comparison between the iPhone 12 Pro, 11 Pro and 10. And as you can see that they're all actually quite high quality and the differences probably won't actually make too much of a difference. For instance, if you're making a short film with it, then the most important part is the story you're telling, and these minor differences really don't make that much difference. If we talk about the visual image, the things that matter are things like your lighting, your blocking, cinematography, things like that that can make a big difference between how your scene is portrayed on camera. And the other people who might use a phone like this would be to film family events, things like that. And in most cases, the people who look at this footage wouldn't tell the difference anyway. So the moral of the story, it doesn't matter if you've got a 10, 11 Pro or 12 Pro or an Android phone or anything. All that matters is that you're willing to go ahead and tell a story and start experimenting. Because what makes a good filmmaker is not the tools, it's the ideas, it is the creativity, it's being able to think outside the box. So with that said, thanks for watching, do me a huge solid, like, subscribe, ring that bell, and I've got a lot more videos like this coming out, so make sure you're paying attention, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching Media Academy Online. If you'd like to explore more about content, click on this or click on that. Like and subscribe, thumbs up, ring bells, do a dance, sing a song, drink a hot cup of tea or coffee, and I'll see you in the next one.